Howdy y'all, Day here, and welcome to another adventure! We're continuing in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, where we are in Ultimate Duel, pretty much the edge of everything, and we have discovered this is a reality based on emotions. We have just come across basically remnants of dragon souls, dynamis, whatever, that were alive on Midgard-Sormer's planet after the attack from Omega when they had nothing left to live for. The ether was corrupt, so their babies were being born as monsters. All the stars that they did send dragons off to, it wasn't just Midgard-Sormer, but all the stars they sent dragons off to ended up being killed because of whatever life was on there already did not want to accept them. So the dragons that were left here gave up, and basically they're just waiting for the end. They're waiting for their souls and ether and dynamis to wither until they're turned to stone. But that feeling, that strong emotion of despair and giving up on life, basically, trapped them on this island, which trapped us on the island, and we couldn't get off to continue to try to fight Medion. So Estinian confronted the leader of those dragons, basically, and basically confronted him and said, you cannot give up like this. You cannot just wait for oblivion. Yes, war is going to happen. Yes, there's going to be conflict. Even your brood has killed my family, but we found peace. You must see yourself in the eyes of the enemy. You must fight to live. And in doing so, Medion undid him like she undid Thancred. But Estinian's soul and dynamis, I guess, was so strong, he opened the path for us to hop to another island. Just like how Thancred, his soul and his desire to survive was so strong, he made this area breathable, sustainable for life, so we can continue on. And poor Alphino cried, and I don't know how I didn't start like flat out crying. I don't think they're dead. I have to keep thinking to myself, I don't think they're dead. I have hope that they're still alive. And remember, we still have that power of creation from Heidelin. And if their souls are still out there in the dynamis and we have the power of creation, maybe, just maybe, yeah, I know I'm taking a while to talk, maybe, just maybe we can bring them back. So we're going to continue on. The next one's called Roads Paved Sacrifice. And I swear, I can't deal with anyone else killing themselves for us. As Ishtola and Alexei said, we must continue. Notice the change in our surroundings. Perhaps this is in the memory of an altogether different world. It would be prudent to learn more of it. Tread carefully, lest we lose our footing in the sand. Okay, so yeah. So these islands are made of memory. That's the other thing. So this isn't like a shard of their actual planet. The memory and emotion of their planet created that island that we landed on. And that was the memory and emotion of Midgard-Sormer's planet. Now we're on the memory and emotion of a new planet that apparently is covered in sand. Look at the sand kind of just floating off the side. And getting ether currents here is going to be annoying. I bet you Medion's in there. I bet you Medion's in there. We're just going to have to island hop. I bet you Medion's in there. Okay, where are we now? Alexei? Sand everywhere. Alphino? If not for the light emitted by these glyphs, I might have overlooked the monolith. Graha? Another seemingly barren world. For a mercy, the air is nowhere near as stale, but still quite dry, and the sand will no doubt prove bothersome due to time. If you were worried about my vision, you need to be. I can still... Oh, good, because I was saying about that. Okay, Oriange. Were it not for the violet crystal embedded in the surface, it would appear to be an ordinary stone. A curious script hath been etched upon thee. Alas, it is not a language which I am familiar. I cannot say I recognize it either. Nor I. The dragons, from what I recall, preserve their knowledge in song and eschew the writing word entirely. So we may assume this is the work of another race, one we have yet to encounter. Neon claimed the dragon's world suffered a slow death, seeking the release of oblivion. What life we find here, like as not, doth wend its way towards a similar end. So we're visiting memories of worlds that were dying slowly. Because Midgard Swarmer's world was dying slowly because it had been attacked and the ether corrupted and they had nothing left. So they just faded to obscurity. Why are you supposed to sit over there? I'm not sure. It's hard to make out from a distance, but the surface seems to bear the same crystal as the monument. Meaning there's a chance we might find whomever built them. We should go and have a look. Come on. Okay, peeps, let's go. Another one. Names of these monsters are interesting. These are drifting Aya. So these are just memories of worlds long past. Hollow of the flesh. Ghostly figure. So yeah, all these things are just memories. Oh hi, you're actually kind of cute. Hail travelers, this is the most unexpected occurrence. Hello? Is this your home? Indeed it is. Ah, forgive me, I have forgotten. An exchange of introductions is expected when first meeting those with whom one is unacquainted. Woo! When the vibration of vocal folds was still... hold on. I'm so... Why did you just pop your head out? When the vibration of vocal folds was still required to convey our thoughts and intentions, Aya, I believe, was a pronunciation used when referring to our people. Though it is not entirely applicable given our present state, you are welcome to use this appellation. As for a nomenclature to address my individual person, I believe it would be pronounced Kofkuj. Yes, Kofkuj of the Aya. We've encountered beings that communicate intermittently through thought, but never one who is wholly without a voice. I presume we're having this conversation via the medium of ether, or dynamis, as the space is suffused with vast quantities. Fascinating in that case. I gather your response to my presence is positive, then. That is well, for there is something I wish to ask you. Like yourself, we Ea are ether-based life forms, therefore it may be surmised that your bodies are of comparable biological composition to those we once possessed. I have a number of queries regarding your subjective perception of 5 senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. In total, I have prepared 198,712,180,827. Oh my god, that's rather a lot, isn't it? My apologies. I have omitted a great many details necessary to understand the nature of my request. Though we dispensed with our corporeal vessels long ago, we have rediscovered a need for the flesh and have endeavored to recreate our erstwhile forms. Got some on my tongue. However, all pertinent records have been lost due to the passage of time. Take, for example, the nervous system. It is well within our power to recreate, but we have no frame of reference for sensations once experienced by our people, which may compromise our ability to interact with our physical environment. And the reason you need to regain corporeal forms? Why, to bring an end to our existence, of course. They want to end it too. So this civilization... So it seems like these memories of civilizations are just due to souls or beings that can't die. So they kind of just remain as ether and dynamis. Because the dragons first, they have such long lifespans. They could live for millennia. Well, not millennia, maybe. They live for centuries, for sure. No, probably millennia, not centuries. They live a really long time. So even just waiting for death and they don't want to axe themselves would cause them to turn into those soul things that we saw on the first island. These people, they found a way to leave their physical forms to become corporeal ether, just as is, which we have corporeal ether. But now they want to end it because they have no meaning to life anymore. And so they're trying to get physical forms so they can end their lives. Though need is perhaps too strong a word, it would be a simple matter to unmake ourselves through use of etheric extrangrenators, but such a jet seems inadequate. The traditionalists among us believe proper death requires an inescapable sense of impermanence in one's final moments, an experience only found with bodies of flesh. We should very much like to hear more of your plans. In exchange, we will answer any questions you have to the best of our ability. Such a strange exchange of information would indeed prove useful. Very well. To ensure efficacious exchange, I hereby invite you to our home. Yes, the abode of the Ea, where we traditionalists prepare for our demise. I presume your consent to answer questions is indicative of a tacit approval of our plans, in which case your cooperation is greatly appreciated. I must caution you, however, to be mindful of the Ea wandering the desert. Their desire for bodies of flesh could be described as overzealous. Now, if you would follow me. This is going rather smoothly, not that I'm complaining, mind. Even so, we mustn't forget their aim is oblivion, much like the dragons. Though I fail to see why a civilization so seemingly advanced would choose to unmake all they have created. At any rate, we will find no answers dallying here. Let us be on our way. So this civilization advanced so far, they found out how to leave their physical form and now have no further desire to live. So these ones want to end their existence by... Is that a crystal? It is! These ones want to end their existence by becoming physical again. And then in turn, ending it. They feel that the only way to die, the only meaning of life for them, is to gain a body and die with the feeling that there is no escape? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe when they left their physical forms, they lost all sort of like physical emotion like that because it became pure aether-based creatures. Interesting indeed. Let's go talk to Kupko. What was his name again? Kopko. Kopkuj. Kofkuj. Okay, Kofkuj. Oh, sorry, Ellie. It said there would be others, but I don't know what to expect. More violet colored crystals. I cannot place my finger on, but there's something unsettling about them. I should be surprised their concept of the village is so different from ours, and yet... The Isle Dragons were shrouded in the silence of the dead, yet the stillness here doth suggest the era are by and large merely sleeping. Something tells me you have different definitions of the word abode. Oh, I wonder if those are just like the souls of the Kofkoj. Welcome to our abode. Most of our compeers, you will find, remain idle in their domiciles, though your quizzical expressions indicate my phrasing is unclear. I speak, of course, of the violent crystalline constructs hanging from the stone structures there. You say they remain idle, but what of your work to regain corporeal bodies? An astute question, and understandable given your finite nature. We have no desire to pursue our research, for it is no longer necessary. If, in our idleness, we are struck by sudden inspiration, we rise to pursue said inspiration to its conclusion. That is why I present for your arrival, and why I continue to engage with you still. But while the others are not currently in a motile state, rest assured they will not object were you to disturb their respite. You need only cast your thoughts towards one of the crystalline domiciles to communicate. So, they lost their reason to live too. So there are different reasons why these civilizations lost their reason to live. For it was the dragons, it was because there was nothing left to live for physically. Because their world had died and all they knew was conflict, so they chose oblivion. For this civilization, they had advanced so much they even left their physical bodies. They had nothing really left to live for. They had no inspiration of any kind. So they stay in these dormant states as like ether in these crystals until they're struck by inspiration, and then they just do it and then go back to sleep. And it's boring to them, so they want to end their oblivion. End with oblivion, I think. You cast your thoughts towards the crystalline domicile, but there is no response. You wish to speak? Very well, pray a moment if you would. This is so strange. Why, we seek our end, you ask. If you wish to know, I will tell you. Just a moment, I must remember. What form did I take last I emerged? Oh, that's weird looking out there. What the heck is that? It's a spider. Ugh. I'm not gonna look at it. Yeah. Strange moment comes and goes, but soon fades into silence. Oh, that's water! Your water looks weird. Okay, Kov Cooch. Kov Cooch! Did your inquiries yield satisfactory responses? 2 of them slept, 2 of them said they'd come out, they didn't come. I see. If they failed to answer, then it is likely because their minds have unraveled due to prolonged idleness. They are not but concentrated ether now. Worry not. There are no others who have been those lodges, and they will not prove a hindrance to remain as they are. But more importantly, you said some few did answer your request for an audience, yes? I imagine they will be with us ere long. Okay, this civilization is unique, to put it in a word. I had no luck, but everyone else fared well enough. Quite a few I have awakened. Ah, there they are. That's it? Just 3? May I introduce you to Lalak, Dudek, and Nenej. Hey guys. It has been too long, Koop Cooch. I dare say Satyr 4 has since completed an orbit. Indeed, until the travelers brought it to my attention, I hadn't noticed how unraveled some had become. Travelers? Of course, of course. The ones who wish to know why we seek to regain corporeal form. The truth of the matter is as plain as the neighboring systems, but my single account would fail to satisfy the requirement for scientific objectivity. Thus did I bid them awake you. And I'm the only one who struggles to tell who is speaking. Nay, thou art not. In the absence of corporeal forms and the divergence they afford, mayhaps such similarly in voice is unavoidable. By the way, Coach, have you already observed the requisite custom for the travelers? That which one is expected to do when receiving guests, a matter of proper form. Boop! Ah, yes, so long has it been that it has completely escaped my mind, and still does. What was it again? I can't seem to remember. Stop popping your heads out! Neither do I. Pity, I was hoping you would. Perhaps we can search the archives for the answer. Come now, Nanage, the archives have long since been frozen, lest we suggest ourselves to further dolor. Surely you recall that much. Ah, of course, food. The custom is to serve food. Beings of flesh such as they must regularly replenish ether. By contributing to their replenishment, we communicate our friendly intention. That's right! That's right! We duly invite you to join us in communal repast, after which we may engage in leisurely conversation. If we have a chance to learn something, then I see no reason to decline. Okay. Excellent. If you would care to follow, we shall feast you on the purest ether. So we're about to have an ether meal with ghost people who want physical bodies so they can die. Because as they are right now, they are immortal. I'm seeing a trend here, come to think of it. It seems as though the trend for those seeking oblivion are those who can't die. They lose their reason to live. Whereas us, wow, that's really fresh, abandoned, blah, blah. The text is getting more and more messed up on the names of the quests. Anyway, I've noticed that all these civilizations that want to end it are all immortal in some fashion. The dragons, they just have prolonged age. They can live for hundreds and hundreds of years. The Emerantines, they were also mortal. They chose when they died. When they were asking the question about what is your reason to live. These guys found out how to leave their physical bodies and live as etheric beings, which make them immortal. Now they're trying to become physical beings again to properly die because they just feel like dissipating their ether isn't good enough. Like that's not a proper way to die. So it seems like us being sundered and idling, giving us a finite life, gives us a reason to live, which keeps us going. Cuckoo. This facility is where we replenish our ether. There is no particular name for it, but traditionalists sometimes use the word restaurant. Now then, if you would take your place with your comrades, the space will soon be awash with purest ether. Please absorb as much as you like. Okay, we're about to eat in the purest of ether, peeps. Ether! You brace yourself for a rush of sweet, sweet ether, but nothing seems to happen. Perhaps you need to wait longer. I guess the ether machine is broken? You brace yourself again, but again nothing happens. Just as I suspected, as meticulously as one might recreate the Thea's homeworld, this is Ultima Thule. One cannot simply generate ether. As recreations, our friends are oblivious to this fact. The very truth of their existence, much like phantoms of the recreated Amara. Wait. This is all fake? However, appearances may seem, we must ever be mindful that this is the memories of the dead with whom we deal. So we have to pretend that the ether was delicious. So did you have your fill of ether? Alas, we couldn't absorb it, a deficiency in our forms, it would seem. Oh, how very unfortunate. May I ask how you normally replenish your ether? We eat food. Through your mouths, you say? How very primitive and quaint. To think that their mouths serve not only to expel sounds, but to draw in sustenance besides. Such life forms have long since vanished from our system. Though we regrettably could not partake in your magnificent feast, rest assured we feel your welcome most keenly. In the course of acquainting ourselves with your sophisticated ways, however, we could not fail but wonder, wherefore do you wish to obtain vessels of flesh and thence to vanish? Will you not favor us with an explanation? Your flesh and blood beings are always so hasty. It does have its charm, however. Very well, we shall indulge you. In the beginning, when the Ea yet possessed corporeal bodies, our ancestors dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement. By transcending all limitations, we believed we would eliminate sorrow and abide in true happiness. From the tangible, such as land, to the intangible, such as labor, there exist myriad hindrances to progress, but the most confining of all was the flesh itself. Our natural lifespan was distressingly middling, you see, too short to enjoy unhurried lives, yet too long to be considered disposable. Furthermore, to simply maintain the integrity of our bodies demanded considerable resources. But we managed to solve this problem. After long years, we discovered how to become non-corporeal entities with everlasting lives untroubled by failures of flesh. Thus changed, we had more time and freedom to continue scientific pursuits. We went on to make even greater strides in our quest to transcend all limitations until we finally decided to challenge the last of them all, the limit of knowledge. That is to say, deciphering the laws of creation. We sought to discover how the universe came into being and explain all extant phenomena and thence predict the future. If we could but achieve this, we believe that we would be free from uncertainty and anxiety. It backfired. And did you find the answers you sought? Don't say yes. Yes, we did. Our efforts revealed to us a fundamental truth. Existence is futile. Knowledge of said truth is essential for the continuation of our conversation. If you would learn more, we will share it with you. No, we mustn't. Primitive as they are, it would be unspeakably cruel to deprive them of their ignorance. They are possessed of corporeal forms, their lives readily ended. As those who have gone before, is it not our duty to warn them? What thinkest thou? I want to know. We have deliberated and come to a consensus. If you are resolved to know it, we will disclose to you the truth we discovered, the truth of the universe. Seek us at the stone pillars just outside the bounds of the abode, a place called Elegia. So just so I understand this properly, because I feel like I'm not understanding this properly, Ultimate Dome is basically just a place created of memory and emotion. The memories form the islands that we're on, the memories of these worlds, and the emotion dictates kind of like the feel of the island and creates the beings that we interact with. That's how she said emotion dictates reality, because the emotion and memory is what's making everything. So the first island was the dragons. It created part of the dragon star. The corporeal beings were basically the remnants of soul and emotion from the dragons that stayed behind when Midgardstormer left, and they were waiting for oblivion because their world was dying. They couldn't breed anymore. No new babies could be born, so they decided to fade out into obscurity, in solitude and loneliness. Then on the second island, something 4, it's like something 4 was the name of the planet. These people were people like us who are obsessed with knowledge and gaining knowledge and understanding. And in doing so, they found that one of the biggest hindrances was being physical and having a limited lifespan in the pursuit of knowledge. So they learned how to leave their physical bodies to become these ghostly corporeal beings, to then continue their research. And then they researched and researched and researched, and they studied and studied and studied until they couldn't study anymore. And then they wanted to answer the final question: the laws of creation and the meaning of the universe. 42, basically. They found the answer, which is why they now want corporeal bodies again, so they can end their lives properly and not just vanish into ether. And we want to know what they found, but they think we're too primitive and it would be too cruel to tell us the answer to the universe. So it is now up to us to make the choice to do it. So we're going to do it. But this island is created from their memory and emotion. Their planet fading into oblivion because they just want to rest. Basically, fading into oblivion is just waiting for the end because you have no more will to live. That's crazy. A fundamental truth. We will hear it, of course. Let us learn what has led such enlightened people to this indolent end. I have a feeling one of my friends is going to die again. Where knowledge leads. I love how the O in knowledge is the infinity symbol. Ere we join the Aya, there is one trifling matter I would fain investigate. Tehega Graha, and I trouble you for your assistance. But of course. Okay. My thanks. We shall head outside the abode, if you would kindly follow me. I know not what mischief you are plotting, Urianger, but I trust you have our best interests at heart. The rest of us shall go ahead to Elegia. Lest you worry, we won't start without you. Is Urianger the next to go? Oh no. Is everyone basically gonna die and I'm gonna have to do this end fight alone? Without any of my comrades? Each one of them is another step to the end. Urianger, why did you run so far? Urianger, the wellspring of regret. Urianger, don't say that you're gonna sacrifice yourself next. I will not like that. Aye, this place shall serve. Is it the spring that you wish to investigate? Nay. Pray forgive me, my friends, but there is naught to investigate. 'Twas but a pretense to speak in private. You have our undivided attention. And picture. Gotta get that picture. As we have established here in Ultima Thule, those denizens of ruined stars are recreated in their twilight days. Yet one question doth arise in my mind. So faithfully formed are the simulacra, they believe themselves yet amongst the living. How dost thou suppose this is possible? I don't know. Medion has taken their hearts onto herself. Medion made contact with them. Medion maybe made contact with them and she's the one who filled them with dynamism and made them want to end everything. Medion made contact? Of course, she must have visited the stars of the dragons and the Ea before either race perished in their entirety. Thus could she make their emotions her own, and with them create more faithful simulacra that she relied on any historical account. So too did I theorize, and upon the assumption consider how those two races may have met their demise. They had their own final days! According to thine own tale, Medion perceiveth the emotions of those nearby as her own. A heightened sense of empathy intrinsic it of her nature as an entelechy. In the course of her star-faring journey, she encounters beings who strongly desire a cessation of existence. She would be powerless before that demise, before that desire. Even as she possesseth the power to grant it the power of dynamis. 'Tis my supposition that, overwhelmed by their longing for death, Medion did unleash dynamis and ushered the dragons and Ea onto their doom. She killed them! Medion and her sisters, because they're all a hive mind, visited these worlds before they died, and since she perceives and takes in their emotions, she took in some emotions of this and pushed it out more and caused them to kill themselves. Of course, such was not always the outcome. Full many stars did she find already lost to ruin. In order to create a terminus, however, the fervent desire for the end is essential. Therefore, should you struggle to find a way forward, pray to ask yourself this: the place where you stand, whose is the soul that yearns most desperately for oblivion? Media, why do you tell us this now? Ne'er again would I betray your trust. This pledge I did make to my comrades. In bringing thee into thy confidence, I would remain true to my word. As for thee, let us consider it my fitting reward for the secrets I harbored, the crystal exarch. I once placed my faith in thy chosen path, walking at thy side, full knowing that we were bound for thy demise. I ask now that thou returnest the favor and abide in faith as I fulfill mine own destiny. If you say my debt has come due, how am I to refuse? 'Tis indelicate of me, I know, full well, and I can but beg thy forgiveness. Even if I must needs go such lengths, I cannot well feign ignorance of the answer I have found within. The answer to the question, in what moment might I stand strongest? After all that we've been through, I'll only say this. Do what you must, and see your conviction through. He's confiding in us that he wants to die. I shall, my friend, I shall. Without further ado, let us join our comrades. He's making the same deal with Graha that Graha made with him as Crystal Exarch. Follow me on this path even though you know it'll lead to my death. Arianja's gonna sacrifice themselves next. Let's be off to Elegia. He's gonna sacrifice himself next. So what happens is Medion went to these worlds while they were starting to die. Okay? At least that's what I'm getting from this. Medion went to these worlds as they were starting to die. Well, not starting to die, but she went to these worlds and she heard souls seeking oblivion. And the way that she works, when she can feel an emotion, she feels it as her own emotion, and then she can emit that emotion via dynamis. So when she started feeling the regret of the dragons, she pushed that dynamis out, and it made them all do that regret. Same with these people. She caused their worlds to end, just like she's causing my final days. So You okay, dude? Is there no end? They just don't want eternity. This just shows you how immortality. FFXIV, man. Come, let's hear the Ea's tale and learn what has caused such enlightened beings to crave nihility. Since everyone's accounted for, shall we then?
Please continue. Tell us about this truth you discovered.
Very well. Bear in mind, however, that the purpose of this conversation is not to impart scholarly knowledge, for such requires that you comprehend the subject matter, which you will not. We will forego the intricacies of our scientific methodology and deal only with the conclusion, the end of our society and our world. We acknowledge, with regret, that your star is in the midst of the same panic-induced cataclysm that befell FFXIV.
So they too had a final days caused by... Little Lady.
As such, in order to avoid causing undue distress, we will refrain from explicitly stating how much time you have remaining.
You are entirely too kind. I pray you recount your tale as you see fit.
Yeah. Bloop!
In the beginning, the universe was but a tiny particle. Then suddenly, this particle began to expand. Having remained entirely in the bounds of your star, the phenomenon may be difficult for your kind to grasp.
Oh.
But this expansion has since continued unabated. Speculating that the universe could not grow indefinitely, we sought to learn what might occur, and made a worrying discovery. The stars will continue to spread apart, as will their finite thermal energies. Eventually, all heavenly bodies will grow cold and freeze. No new stars will be born, and the universe will enter into an eternal ice age.
Yep.
In hopes of proving that this determination was erroneous, we scrutinized our research from all angles, even as we sought to avert the everlasting winter. The endeavor proved fruitless. So infamously so, in fact, that it became synonymous with vain effort. The universe as we know it would end, and there is no way to prevent it. Beneath the weight of this knowledge, our society stagnated. Though we had time still, it was a cold comfort. Why strive for anything when desolation is assured? When our wealth of wisdom, accumulated since the dawning of our kind, would be forever lost? No civilization would rise from our ashes. No scholar recover our knowledge. In silence unbroken, naught would stir. Intellect was once our pride. Overnight, it became our shame. Our works, monuments to futility.
So they discover the universe is going to ever expand, so what's the purpose?
Immortality, our greatest invention, became a source of suffering. Rather than suffer on, many chose to unmake themselves by means of etheric exsanguinators.
They kill themselves.
Etched upon these stones are the testaments of such souls. Though many left no words at all, thinking it a pointless gesture.
These are tombstones.
Once we have obtained vessels of flesh, we likewise intend to vanish. If you understand this, understand aught of our tale, you will abandon your quest for knowledge. Ignorance truly is bliss. If you would cling to your illusory happiness, remain primitive and pure. It is the only way.
She seeks the pursuit of knowledge.
So that's your story.
Is Ishtola the next one?
While I appreciate your advice, I will not heed it.
Ishtola's gonna be the next to go.
Convinced though you may be of this truth, it is yours and not mine. Indeed, truth, I have ever believed, is in the eye of the beholder.
Are you suggesting that we have reached a faulty conclusion? That our science failed us?
Hardly. As you yourself said, the subject matter is beyond my comprehension. And that, I accept, is true. I do not possess the knowledge to prove or disprove your conclusion. In my mortal years, I doubt I could even approach the wisdom of the air. But of one thing am I absolutely certain. I would not be happier in ignorance.
She's gonna be the next to go.
Ishtola, no! You mustn't!
She's the
The
next.
most important lesson I've learned is that learning isn't simply passing one's eyes over words. Nay, 'tis when understood for oneself that knowledge attains its true value. This is what has sustained me, driven me onward in joy and wonder, in anger and sorrow. The universe may end, and all may be for naught. But I will live as I always have.
In pursuit of knowledge.
I will always seek out new knowledge. And no conclusion of yours, no matter how grim, can dampen my desire.
So we're stuck on this island because... Oh no.
I suppose it is only to be expected. Their feeble minds cannot fathom the terrifying gravity of it all.
So these things are created off of Medion's emotion. So Medion was feeling the despair of knowing all of this knowledge and the end of everything, and created this memory version of them. And what we're doing is we're counteracting that emotion with the positivity of it. So like, I mean, it's kind of sad, with the positivity of the dragons wanting to end conflict was Estinian showing that conflict has to happen in order to live. The counter of this one is the pursuit of knowledge shows the end of everything, but Ishtola is telling them, no, the pursuit of knowledge is the joy, even if it gives you sorrow in the end, joy of discovery.
But worry not. We consider it our duty to enlighten you, and we will not stop until you grasp the full extent of our despair.
So now Ishtola is going to sacrifice herself. The joy of knowledge counteract is going to be the bird. So Medion is creating these figments. And she's the next to go.
Keep calm and listen well. Though my body will soon dissipate, there may be a way to restore it. Asm's magic. So long as our souls remain, you can use it to summon us back. But you mustn't, for it would mean losing our way forward. This I only reveal so that you can promise not to invoke the magic.
No!
We came here knowing what victory may cost, so press on. Press on, and do not look back.
I was just saying use Azam's knowledge. This-
I shall join thee. As subterfuge is not required, thou shalt not suffer for mine absence.
Riange.
We're gonna go together.
My resolve hath never been as strong as thine. Full oft have I wavered in my decisions, and afterwards been stricken with regret. In spite of this, I may still stand with my comrades, supporting them as they attempt the greatest of feats.
They're gonna sacrifice themselves to get me
This
forward.
truth I have learned in the course of our journey. And many though my shortcomings may be, I may also claim to excel in prophecies. My studies, into which have granted me the flexibility of mind needed to bend this malleable reality.
They're gonna go together.
Thus shall I hope that thou mayest have the strength to resist, and our comrades the strength to continue.
With you to urge us on, how could we possibly fail?
And so she dissipates them. And their souls are so strong that they push us onward. Oh my god, now there's only 4 of us. There's only 4 of us. There's only 4 of us. How are we gonna fight her? That's it.
What's this? An extinguished civilization. Rekindled.
We gave them the hope to live.
That's right. Our quest doesn't end here. We'll press on, and we will find you.
There. That's where you'll find me.
Is that another star?
Of the stars we visited, most were already devoid of life. And where there was life still, the inhabitants wished for death. But even death, we learned, isn't truly the end. It is but a part of the cycle of rebirth. Souls return to the star, or in its absence, a larger flow. And eventually they are reborn, alive again, to know suffering anew.
She wishes to end that cycle.
True salvation lies not in dying. It lies in not being born. This is the gift I would give to you. To all life on beautiful Atheris. To that end, we created an egg wherein life cannot quicken. That dead sun.
That's why when they changed their void of ether, they're taking the ether so they don't get reborn.
Attain it if you can. Before your friends' emotions fade away. Along with their protection.
But we're not to use the Stone of Azam to bring them back? So anytime someone dies by Dynamis, by her, a world, all the people that were changing, the reason why they have no ether is because the ether is tapped and sent to this dead sun so she can keep it trapped until it dies off. So it can't be reborn. She doesn't want to just kill everybody. She wants to prevent them from being born. Oh my gosh, look how messed up the text is now. Victory lost. victories, some other stuff lost. The text gets more and more as my party falls apart. Our comrades' will to live is so strong. It's bending reality in this place. The emotion that they exert upon death is so strong. When their ether is dissipated, the dynamis has nothing holding it back anymore, and it creates it. So Thancred, his desire to have us survive, even though his ether was dissipated, made this place livable. Estinian, his desire to continue fighting and to continue forward was so strong, it gave us the ability to transport over the map, to move around, not be stuck on the island. Ishtal and Hurrianje's joy and desire of knowledge and knowing and discovery inspired us to not only rekindle a civilization, but to discover where Medion is hidden. But now it's just the four of us left. And when any of the Medions, go to his star and end the civilization like they ended the civilization here with the corporeal beings, and they ended the civilization with the dragons, those dragons and those Aya, when they died, when their ether finally gave up, it didn't get sent back to the ethereal sea to be reborn like it's supposed to be. It was sent to this dark sun and trapped. In there is trapped all of the souls that have died due to dynamis, so they can't be reborn. So if I destroy that, the ethereal sea will be full of souls waiting to be reborn. Oh, my mind is blowing right now. But now that I know that, but the thing is, Ishtola told me not to use the Stone of Azim to bring them back. If I bring them back, they come out. Oh, if I bring them back, they come out of the sun. I can reform their ether with the creation magics, but then the dynamis would fail and we would lose that connection again. That's why she doesn't want to bring them back. Don't look back. Forge ahead. That's it. That's all the time I have now, but we will continue. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye!